Hey out there, YouTube family. Welcome to the Kevin Strong Show. We're going to talk about something a little bit different in this video. We're going to talk about how home appreciation for some people can actually be a pitfall. And we're going to talk a little bit about smart money. And then I'm going to wrap up the video talking about some stock choices. So first of all, welcome to the show. If you're new, thank you for your time. Start off by giving me two things, if you could. Hit the like button and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. So somebody was talking about this on YouTube, and I thought it'd be a great topic about home appreciation, because most homeowners want their property values to go up naturally, right? Nobody wants to buy a piece of property and then in a couple of years find out that it was a bad investment. For the average person, it's typically the biggest purchase that you'll ever make in your life. And B, or I probably should say 1B, equally important, is that for most Americans, it's probably one of the biggest chunks of how they accumulate wealth over their lifetime. So as home values continue to be out of the reach for the average American, and all the associated costs that go with owning a home are going up and up every year, you start to wonder, am I really going to be able to create any type of wealth, especially if you're in the income bracket of, let's say, middle America on down? So why I'm titling this video Home Appreciation Pitfall is the following. For those individuals who are on fixed income, or their incomes are not necessarily keeping up with inflation, and for those individuals who basically can marginally service their monthly debt. So what do I mean by that? You're basically house broke without trying to get too fancy. So getting back to the most vulnerable of this home appreciation pitfall is what? The elderly. And I've talked about this ad nauseum, right? So your home value is going up, up, and up, and up. But if you plan on living in your home for a long period of time, or for the rest of your life, and you're on a fixed income, how do you mitigate when your county reassesses the value of your home and increases your property tax by 5, 10, 15, 20, 30%? How do you continue to maintain your home when your homeowner's insurance, like in Florida, in some places in Florida, is going up 200 and 300% per year? There are a lot of individuals, there's a lot of elderly in the state of Florida that are on a fixed income because they go there to retire. But as I've said ad nauseum in previous videos, no one probably calculated 5 or 10 years ago that they would be faced with 200 and 300% increases in homeowners insurance, or 10 or 15% increases in property taxes. So yes, it is a good thing that the value of your home is going up, but as that value goes up, things like property taxes, homeowners insurance could easily take a bad situation and make it worse. Then you have to factor in maintenance, labor, and material costs that are associated with repairs on that home will continue to go up. So you really need a buffer. And that's why I'm a big component of making sure you're going to set yourself up for the right situation when it applies to home ownership. And I'm also famous for saying, on a low fixed income, you can never, ever run out inflation. Inflation will always catch up and get you. So wanted to talk about that. I think that was kind of interesting. I think a lot of people don't factor that in. And I think a lot of times we get so fixated on, hey, I just can't wait to pay my house off. That's great. But what is, if you're going to retire and part of your retirement plan is paying off your home, what does your income look like at that point in time? How is your health, right? We know how expensive healthcare is in this country. We hear these stories about people on this medication that the insurance only pays a partial part of the prescription, and people are paying $100, $200, $300 a month just for pills. So you have to factor all of this in. It's not just about getting fixated on paying that house off. It's also about, when you get to that sweet spot, what is your income going to look like? And do you have enough of a buffer to basically handle reassessments of your property value, homeowners insurance, and other miscellaneous costs? So we're going to slide over here. This is a Harvard professor that talked about happiness. And I thought this was very interesting. I'm going to share the clip with you, and then I'm going to give you some personal insight as to how I personally feel about this topic. So here's the setup. This guy's basically saying there's 5 things that basically make up happiness for the majority of human beings. And we chase all of this stuff, so to speak, and we're chasing the wrong thing. Very interesting. I'm going to let you guys listen to it, and then I'm going to come back to the video and give you my 2 cents.
What you found about how debt affects happiness.
Yeah. So it's really clear. I mean, there's a lot of, I'm an economist by background, but I study, the science of happiness. And so that putting those two things together, one of the things that I teach my students and I talk about a lot is the ways that you can buy happiness. It turns out there's 5 things that you can do with your money. You can buy stuff, you can buy experiences, you can buy time, you can give it away, or you can save it. Those are the only things you can do with your money, right? 4 of them will bring you happiness and 1 won't. Your brain is telling you to do the one thing that won't bring happiness, which is to go buy stuff.
Why is our brain that wrong?
Because we're evolved in that way. So humans were evolved. We're a kin-based, hierarchical, tropical species, Homo sapiens. Now, some of that we're going to get beyond. Like we invented coats, so we don't have to live in tropical places. I live in Boston, which is the world's worst weather. It's fine.
Agreed.
I can live in a house that has heat, etc. But I'm not going to get away from this hierarchical kind of kin-based species. And so the result is that we have this natural evolved tendency to want to rise in the hierarchy. How do you do that? By signaling. How do you signal? By actually being able to have more stuff than you need to survive. The way that you display that, that's the reason that people have 5 watches. Why in the heck do you need 5 watches? Because you can.
It's a flex.
And if you can, what that suggests to potential mates, for example, and to people who might want to understand if you're the alpha or the beta in your tribe, is they look at all your stuff and say, George has got more watches than he needs. Clearly, he should be able to have 75 children. This is kind of what your brain is doing.
So very, very, very interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I actually agree with this guy. I think he's spot on the stuff. Those of you guys who know me on YouTube know how I feel about living below your means. Those who know me on a personal level know that, what you see is what you get. I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. It's worth repeating. I'm the type of guy that I'd rather make you laugh than try to impress you, whether, I'm potentially trying to date somebody or if I'm just amongst friends. I'm just, what you see is what you get. I do not get caught up into the matrix. That does not, but I thought this was interesting. The guy said it's just stuff, right? And I think that's such a part of Western society. It's easy to get fixated on that. I think a part of that breeds narcissism, self-absorption, being self-absorbent, just all about yourself. And I've said this before, once again, we get so wrapped up into our own little world. We don't pause and look up because that's the real world that's passing us by. Too many times we get fixated on things, and the guy goes on to say in this video that the things that he reflects back on in his 32 years of marriage is the experiences. It's not the stuff. It's not the couch that you bought 20 years ago. It was cool, but the novelty wears off of anything. So he was talking about the experiences or maybe doing something for somebody, or connecting with somebody at a very human level are the kind of things that carry your soul for as long as you live. Not to get all cheesy about it, but I'm really, really big component of that. And that's why I've contemplated, whenever I decide to retire, removing myself from Western society, because I just don't like the pretentiousness. I just don't like it. I despise it. Everybody's going to take a dirt nap one day. You're just going. So no matter what you think of yourself, no matter how you evolve, it's just really, really something I think is important. And I think when you're able to give to someone, I had a pastor tell me one time, would you rather be in a position to receive $1 or to give $1? And I thought about that because that was very profound, because think about the times that when you do something for someone, this is me personally, you may agree or disagree. When you're able to help someone or do something for somebody, you get way more enjoyment and self-fulfillment than receiving something. If you think about that for a moment. And that's just how I personally feel. And that's why I think laughter and humor is such an important component of living. I think an ideal, if you say, hey, what would be an ideal date? Hell with all the fancy shit. Go to a comedy show, have a couple drinks, and just laugh your ass off for an hour and a half. You will not forget that time. You can connect with people. You can open up with people. This is just me talking personally now, folks. I just think humor is just such an important component of not only connecting with people, but just feeling fulfilled as a person and being happy. So kind of wanted to talk about that. I thought that was interesting. So we're going to slide over here and finally wrap up this video talking about a couple of stocks, and we will call it a day. So the one recommendation that I have for next week, I didn't get an opportunity to do the due diligence like I normally do. I had some training that I had to go attend Friday, and I was basically just away from my computer the whole time. So I couldn't really do anything. But I think moving into next week, once again, this is not financial advice. Do your own due diligence. I'm just saying what I potentially might look at Monday is that I think for a couple days, for those of you who follow me know that I only trade for a couple days. When I'm in a trade, I get in and out. So this is not my like long-term strategy. But I think silver looks like it wants to move up a little bit for a day or two. I know the MACD down here is not clearly showing any type of confirmation of a reversal, but once again, those who follow me know that I do options trading. So this doesn't need to move that much in order for me to get a particular decent profit. One that I am currently in right now is a symbol called coin for Coinbase. I bought what's called a bull put spread, which is a bullish position on this particular stock. I think I entered this at like 210 and 205, and it expires, I think, next Friday. So I think this is going to potentially be a winner. It's looking good. Tesla, on one hand, looks like it's off and running. The only caveat I'm worried about Tesla is that I wonder if it's going to run out of steam a little bit, because the tech sector in general is kind of, it's exhausting. It looks like it needs to pull back a little bit. So this red line here, as you can see, that's angling down, is a 200-day moving average. I would not be surprised if Tesla gets somewhere close to around 204, 205, and it starts to potentially roll back down. However, if it breaks through this 200-day moving average and settles and starts to go up, then it's going to be off to the races. And that potentially could happen as well, especially since the narrative is changing about the Fed is getting pressured to maybe lower rates. That'll give a kind of like a shot in the arm for tech stocks, because tech stocks or the tech industry thrives on in a low interest rate environment. And the other one that's probably worth looking at is NVIDIA. Everybody's familiar with that. I'm kind of on the fence with this. I'm getting the feeling that this thing is kind of running its course a little bit. As you can see here, it's kind of consolidating a little bit. And this line here is like a big moving average. The MACD has already signaled that this thing is down for reversal. And then the volume for the last couple of days, or actually the last week, is kind of weak. So I'm on the fence with NVIDIA. If you asked me to really place a bet on something like this, I probably would stay away. But I think by Monday afternoon, we will know whether or not this is going to continue to go up or down. I'm just on the fence with that one. So I just don't have an opinion one way or the other. So interesting video here. Didn't want to make it too long. Sorry I wasn't able to get this video out yesterday. I'm going to always encourage you guys to, help each other out. Always try to help somebody maximize their potential. And some people don't like that. Some people don't feel comfortable with that. And some people will actually see you as the bad person when you do that, because they don't realize the complacency or this box that they're in. And everybody wants their lifestyle to fit within a box. They just don't like to come out of their comfort zone. So once again, I do appreciate your time. Just as a quick reminder, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this edition of the Kevin Strong Show, show me some appreciation by hitting that like button and drop a comment. Do you agree with that Harvard professor that says, hey, the one thing that we chase that we shouldn't chase is buying stuff, AKA materialism? Because I agree with that 150%. This was the Kevin Strong Show, and I'll see you in the next one.